as photographers, we're trained at making sure we have beautiful focus on our images. And sometimes when we do that, the images come out a little too sharp. So here's where we have to make sure we balance it, to where if the detail in the photo is taking away from the main subject or not adding to the storyline, we need to remove it. Now, normally we can do that inside the camera using our aperture. But what happens if after we take the photo, we realized, oh, I wish I changed that aperture? Well, let me show you a couple examples on how we can remove detail in the photo by adding a blur, which is going to make the image look even sharper. I know it sounds a little funny. Let me give you an example. So here's a beautiful shot of the sunset my good buddy Angie Birmingham did for me. Now, watch this. If I go to edit, I'm going to come down here to the blur tool. Now, the water is a little too sharp right here. I love the reflection, but what we want to do is add a little more motion to it. So I'm going to click on motion. Now let's go to an extreme so we can see what we're doing. Now that's definitely too far. Let's dial it back a bit. Ooh, right about there. Look at that. Before, after. Now here's the issue though. I don't want the rest of the image to be blurry, just the water area. So if I come to masking, let's use a linear gradient. Now from the linear gradient, I'm just going to bring it up, usually right about to the base of the tree. Now let's see if it makes a big difference. Ooh, look at this. Before and after. All right, and again, you could tweak it and adjust it to your needs. Now let me give you another example. Here is natural bokeh inside the image. So here's my beautiful goddaughter. Now, if you'll notice, right over here, it was shot at 1.4 with an 85mm lens. Look at the beautiful bokeh in the background and the separation. So I did this as an example. I shot it at f16. So f16 is going to make sure that everything from the front of the focus all the way to the back is going to be in focus, tack sharp. Well, look how it's distracting. Look how the original one that we did in camera, look how beautiful the geometric patterns are and the bokeh. But this one here, like I said, as an example, doesn't give that same feel. Well, let's come over here to our portrait tools. Here's Portrait Bokeh. I'm going to give it an arbitrary amount. We'll go back and change it. And look, it automatically selected her. Now, this depth correction, this is what's going to give us those beautiful geometric patterns in the background. Look at that. So let's look at before and after. So here's the original. Here's how we changed it. Now we still have control. I'm going to defocus. I notice it's a little spot right here. I want to get rid of some of this. Now, if it's a little too sharp around the edges, I can adjust the edge correction where I can either add to it or take away, or right about here, or like this right here, this area right in here. I'm going to come in and the strength of it, let's dial it way back, and I'm going to defocus just around the edge, right about here. Look what I'm doing, but notice I'm using the strength. I'm adjusting the strength so it doesn't appear to be a sharp line. There we are. So let's look at the difference. Before and after. So again, that's a great example of how to do this in camera using the proper f-stop, which in this case was 1.4. And then if we didn't use the proper f-stop, how we can adjust it with Portrait Bokeh. Now, there are also times where, let's say this image here, I want to show you a couple different tools, where I do want to blur like we did the water area, but I can use different tools. I can use Structure AI, but use it in a negative value. And same thing with the boost, and that's just an example. And again, we could tweak it. I just want to show you that different tools we have can achieve this. We have the automated tools, or we could use, let's say, details, for example. And I want to come in, let's say, with this small details. Go to a negative value and look how it's changing it. Here's the medium value. Let me move that back up. And then, of course, large value. And once again, masking. We could use a linear gradient or a brush tool. And I can apply it from here. There we go. And that's entirely up to you. So I just wanted to give you a couple ways and the different tools we can use. Maybe you're photographing a subject near a brick wall or a tree, and you just want just parts of it, not to have as much detail as the other. That right there gave you a great example on how we could use structure AI or details, but use it in the reverse sense and remove some of the detail in those areas. So as photographers, leave comments below on how you use blur to enhance your images. And the next time you're out there photographing and you catch yourself bringing in too much detail, try to fix it in camera first. If not, once you go inside Luminar Neo, there are some extra tools you can use to give that extra focus by removing detail in a scene. All right? Well, leave comments and share your thoughts.